Ready?
Hello all, good afternoon. Delighted today to be joined by Kev from the LFC Daytrippers. Kev was on last night. I did tune into the Daytrippers. Great show, I should say, about the games coming up this weekend. Sorry, my words are slurred there. And John Henry, we believe, is at Anfield today, and also John Henry in a week where it looks like he's going to be spending some cash for Liverpool to bring in a midfielder. Straight into that, Kev, on this midfield situation, because I know that's what is on everybody's minds at the moment. It's trending everywhere. The names going around at the moment are Frankie de Jong, Barella, Tielemans, Conor Gallagher, Caicedo, but Caicedo starts for Brighton today, so it's unlikely. They're the main, really, lads. What's your take on this thing that Klopp mentioned yesterday at the press conference regarding the midfielder, and who do you think we will go in for? And this is just solely your opinion on it.
Oh yeah, look, I mean, the way I see this going, I mean, if you've asked, when they asked Klopp after the Man City game, are you done in the transfer window? Well, yeah, because after the City game, we played really well. Nobody was injured. You know, we were in a good physical shape. As the season's gone on, the situation's changed. So a man who's never changed his mind has never changed anything. So situation has changed, the window's open, so you go and get someone. I think it's very telling that out of nowhere, Wolves went in for what's his name, Nunes, and nobody was looking at Wolves for him. He'd already rejected Wolves once, apparently. City were linked with him. We were linked with him. He was linked with a couple of European clubs as well. And then all of a sudden, bang, Wolves go and get him. And then last night, apparently, Wolves are trying to secure a deal for central midfielder. His last name is Boubacar. He's playing at Metz. They're looking at 10 million for him. So I think it's nailed down for Ruben Neves to come to Anfield. And I think it'll be announced.
25-year-old, very experienced at international level, obviously at Wolves as well. He'd be an unbelievable signing for us, and he's caused some of our rivals and neighbours over the years in the Premier League he's had some unbelievable moments for Wolves, but it's caused them havoc. A player I think any of us would love to see coming in is Ruben Neves. I'm not sure about the likes of people. Look, it's trending Frankie de Jong, and people putting up stupid things saying only because of our tweets and our resistance. You know, John Henry's listened. He's at Anfield today. I mean, we're talking about grown adults having these conversations. Absolutely madness, really. But
you question that last bit, grown adults.
Barce's top player on the most salary at Barcelona. Liverpool, he's going to have to take a massive. You're talking probably cutting his wages by 150, 200k to come to Liverpool a week. I don't personally see it happen. I think Frankie de Jong's a smashing player. I think he's exactly what United need. Obviously, they're not going to get him now, it doesn't look like, but an unbelievable player for us with certainly enhancers. Very experienced, a great age. But if we're going to get Ruben Neves, Conor Gallagher, someone of that cat, I'd be absolutely delighted with Premier League experience as well. And let's not forget Tielemans. I don't know whether he has the engine, but would he need to is another thing, because Thiago's came to us, he hadn't really got the legs of the engine, and he's settled in nicely. But I don't know. I think we do need someone now, Kev. It's evident in the first three games. It's evident now looking at the bench. This is going on to a fourth league game. The options are extremely limited. There's all sorts of issues at Naby Keita. Curtis Jones is out. We know Henderson, Fabinho get their injuries. We've Ox out. So it's inevitable. We need to dip into the window to bring in someone, but not anyone.
At least one. At least one. And I still believe we need forward as well. Look, we haven't seen the Bobby Firmino that we've come to know and love for a long time. And when everyone's fitting right, Bobby's third choice 9. Now, Diogo picks up his knocks. The knock that Diogo Jota has at the moment is a recurrence of one he's already had before. Darwin is still new to the league and still learning the game in England. You've got one natural wide first team winger on either side in Salah and Diaz. After that, the drop off is humongous. You know, it's just unfortunate the way the window's panned out with Ox, with the way, because he would have been your understudy to Mo Salah. More often than not, when Salah is rested, Ox plays on that right wing. We're not going to see Ox until January. So the only option, if anything, if you needed to rest Salah, and look, the games are going to come thick and fast from now on, and you can't ask Salah and Diaz to be Iron Man. You can't do it because they will burn out eventually, and when they burn out, the goals stop. So I think at midfielder, yeah, ideal. I don't mind the names you mentioned. I think they're all good players. I think Neves is outstanding because he's exactly the kind of midfielder that we need. He's disciplined. He can play in a 2. He can play in a 3. He can play the 6. He can play the 8. He's got a brilliant shot from outside the box. Everything that people have been moaning about, saying we don't score goals from midfield. His dead ball, his free kicks are outstanding. Yeah, he's not going to be cheap. But if you're buying players to come into this squad to improve what we have, you're not going to get your £5 and £10 million players to come and do that. They're once in a blue moon signings. But I still think we need to be looking at a forward option, be it a winger or another 9, another option up front. Because when you look at the bench today, I mean, I know we have injuries. I know we have 9 players out at the moment, but the options off the bench are so limited. And like I said, the games are going to be coming thick and fast. We know Klopp at this stage of a season likes to make 3, 4, 5 changes per game. You know, it's not unusual to see your fullback rotated, to see a couple of changes in midfield and a change up front. We kind of got used to that. But to do that and give yourself the best chance of going deep into the leagues and deep into competitions, you have to have options. And the options that come in have to be of a standard. And at the moment, up front, they're just not there. Yeah. You know, we have a front 3. Last season, I think in January, when we signed Diaz, for the first time in a long time, he was picking 3 from 5. And the 5 were good. At the moment, he's picking 3 from 4, and Bobby is just so far off the mark. He's so far off the pace.
As well as that, Kev, he was able to pick 3 from 5, but Mane evolved into a central role, and that's where he evolved as a player. That's where he was becoming one of the best in the world as that number 9. So we were able to rotate players in different positions, see trial what they were like there, and they were unbelievable. And Mane was exceptional last season. Yeah. And then obviously Diaz gave everybody as well psychologically that big boost that was needed. He came in just over halfway through the season, end of January, and it was like, right, we've enough bodies here now to keep us going. This is this bit of enhancement that we need, injection of energy, and he brought it. I know we only scored 4 goals, 5 goals, whatever, but he was a handful. He was creative. He got the best out of Mane by putting him central, and obviously, you know, it was goals galore for us. And there was no coincidence that last season we scored the most ever goals in the club's history. You know, there's a stat here, Trent and Salah can pass Gerrard today. They're both locked on 120 league goals. If he scores today against Bournemouth, you'd probably fancy him, wouldn't you, to get a goal today?
He likes scoring against Bournemouth, doesn't he? I think he's got 8 goals in his last 6 games against them or something like that.
Yeah, he loved the goal against Bournemouth, yeah, and a good performance.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the lineup today.
He's had 6 league games against Bournemouth.
Yeah, you look at the lineup today, and it's going to be the first 11 are going to have to go and win it, and they're going to have to give the crowd something to get up for. I really hope Anfield is buzzing today, and it's raucous because Bournemouth are, while Fulham, I think, as a promoted side at home on the first game of the season, are always a banana skin in the waiting. I've watched a bit of Bournemouth this season, and they're still trying to find their feet. They're still look like a bit of a fish out of water. You have to go and beat these sides. There's no excuse for that 11 to go out, to be able to go out there today and not get at least 3 points and put in a commanding performance. They're good enough. They just have to turn up on the day and be confident. I think an awful lot of our problems in the last few games in the final third is confidence. It's confidence led. And when you see us at our best is when we're taking shots, creating space, players moving. But more importantly than that, we're winning the ball back up high up. The counter press from the front 3 being led by Bobby, who needs to be higher up the pitch to do this, followed in by the midfield, has to be on point today because they're going to be playing with a back 5, 4 across the midfield and 1 target man up front. He's a big lump, and he will look to hold the ball up and bring them up the pitch. You can't allow that easy first ball to get him on the ball, if you know what I mean. Same with their set pieces. I mean, they're going to be looking... Yeah, but they're going to be looking for counters. They're going to be looking for pace on the wings. They're going to be looking for Kimar. His name keeps escaping me, but he's a big 6-foot-plus lump to pull onto Trent like Mitrovic did. So you have to stop the crosses at source. You know what I mean? We have to be right on it today. And that's the players are the only ones, when they cross the line, it's not down to the manager, it's down to the players on the pitch. And they're the ones who have to take responsibility.
Bournemouth have had a bad start to the season, Kev, but they've lost 13 of the last 15 league games since they were in the Premier League. So obviously from 2020 to now, because they were in the Championship last season. And the last time they actually won in the league away from home was a 3-1 win. It was against Everton. It was in July 2020 after the pandemic. So we don't have to come back to Merseyside again. No, but look, all jokes aside, I think we beat Bournemouth today, absolutely. But as you said, we need a commanding performance, because lately people are talking about midfielders, they're talking about us not being good enough. We've been toothless up front, ran out of ideas. Midfield, we've obviously been awful, but at the back, we have no composure, no calmness, no compactness about us. It was just where you always get that with Liverpool. You get them compact and composed. Lately, it's 3 games in a row. Van Dijk's had a poor game. You had Nat Phillips in there, the Gomez in there weren't up to much either. Robbo and Trent were really poor, and all round we were poor. And I know Milner was slated for starting against United, but I felt Fabinho had to be dropped, and I think there has to be discipline, because he's been poor for a long time, and I think he's looked a bit burnt out. He looks like he's just ran out of steam a bit, and world class. So I've no issues with Klopp dropping the likes of Fabinho and these players when it deserves to be. But the problem is we don't have the quality or like-for-like player to come back in and do a job. And that's what happened against United. And we were awful all over. It was one of the best performances from United in a long time in the first half against us. Second half, we did come in a little bit, but we were nowhere near that. And I was so disappointed at the game. It was because, more so, not just the result, Kev, but because of the performance. The performance was awful. And you thought after Fulham away, Palace improved, and then when you see that against United, it was a worrying tale. But today, I'm up for this. I think there'll be the fist pumps will be back at the end of it by Klopp today. I really do, and I think today, I'll say it now, I think we win today, and I think we do put on it. And hopefully, with the put on a show, the talks now of someone coming in, adding that bit of injection to us, that will just give everybody that bit of boost that they need. And players will also start realising now they're playing for a place, because when you have a bench like we have, the strength and depth's not there. There's nowhere near the quality. If there's no competition, there's no test, is there?
No, that's it. I mean, you look at it today, you've got it's the same match day squad, more or less. I think it's exactly the same match day squad.
From Milner, from United.
Yeah, but it's the same match day squad. So you've got options off. The only options you have off the bench, senior options, are Tsimikas, Milner, and Carvalho. Now, there was a strong argument for Carvalho starting today in midfield.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't have been against it. I honestly wanted to see Bobby dropped. I wanted to see Carvalho playing as left centre mid. I wanted to see Henderson on the right and Harvey Elliott pushed up wide right with Salah through the middle.
Salah through the middle. Yeah, you were talking about that a while ago. Yeah, having Elliott, Salah, and Diaz.
Yeah, it's because of I think it's more, for me, it's because of the space that's created on the right-hand side by Trent coming inside. Having Henderson being able to make that overlapping run on the right-hand side frees up space, and it draws players to the ball. When you've got Elliott and you've got Salah all coming to look to occupy the same space where Trent is already occupying, you run out of options really quick. And when you're playing against a compact back five with 4 sat in front of them, the space just isn't going to be there. And if you're looking to whip balls in, who the hell are you whipping them into? You know, Bobby's decent, but he's not an aerial powerhouse. And you've got 3 centre backs just will gobble that ball up in the air. So you're looking for intricate play on the edge of the box to create space. 1-2s around the edge of the box, like we were done against United on a simple 1-2. You know, but it's play like that that's going to have to get us in, and it has to happen today. There's no more excuses. I was, after the United game, I was the same as you. I was fuming, but there's ways of losing games. Yeah, if De Gea had an absolute blinder, right? If De Gea turned into the De Gea of 2 or 3 years ago and he was saving everything and he was brilliant, you hands up, you gave it a good crack, you had 70% of the ball, you battered their goal, and De Gea was just having one of those nights. It's football, it happens. But we were so toothless, so passive. You know, we were passive all over the pitch. We were passive.
No urgency, no energy, no creativity.
And there's no excuse for not working, for not working harder than your opponent. That's just not acceptable. And maybe it was that performance that made Klopp turn around and say, no, no, this is none. I still believe it's the volume of injuries, and behind the scenes, they know when players are coming back, and they know the type of injuries they have. And
they'll know before it's announced officially. They'll even know a week to what the realistic schedule is. And Thiago particularly takes some time to go up to speed. Now, Thiago apparently is back in the middle of September, which we've a couple of games to still go between now and then. If he comes back in September, it normally takes him 2-3 games to go up to speed. If he comes back after that, Kev, you're probably looking at the Thiago we know in October. So, and then it's not so long till the break. So it does need to be done. And I don't think this is just this is reactionary from fans. Now, obviously, some fans are being, but I think I know from my own opinion, one midfielder would do, and I do think you need to bring things forward a bit more. And I get the whole harmony thing and all that in the squad, and I do totally. But I think bringing one midfielder now gives that injection. It just gives people more reassurance, and it gives the players that do look a bit gobsmacked, the likes of Trent, Van Dijk going around, Salah, that just look a bit lost. It gives them something that they need, that bit more reassurance. I watched Bournemouth play City a few weeks ago, and they were battered against them, absolutely battered, but they committed defensively really well. And that's why I think we need a nearly enough goal today. They were very stubborn defensively, very composed, even at times of 3-4-0 down against City when the pressure was on them. So I think today they'll do the same. They'll be a tough nut to crack. And I think Anfield on its day, you get through that 20-30 minutes, Liverpool are doing everything but scoring. It can become frustrating. It can get anxious. We don't want that today. And that's why we need, when we get our chance today, take them. But also at the back, be more composed, be more calm. The goals have come. We're starting to run out of patience, Kev. I think what us lately is everything's overanalyzed. Everything's given not too quick. We're getting the ball and we're taking too much time. That we're not just giving that give and go. And we have that football arrogance that we once had. We seem to lack that a bit. And everything now is just, it's overplayed. It's overstretched. It's just very, as you said, pedestrianised. There's no tenacity, no energy, no creativity, no urgency, no real hunger or desire there. And I think if we go back to the basics and start having more of that, I think Bournemouth are there today to win. But I want to see a win today, of course, which is the most important thing regardless of the performance. But on top of that, I do want to see a reaction because, I mean, Bournemouth are ahead of us. They've won and lost 2. They beat Villa. We're thumped against City and Arsenal. And they're still ahead of us, and that's the reality. Now, look, 35 games to go, or 34 games to go, a long, long way. And look, we'll still finish ahead of United. We'll still finish ahead of Bournemouth, all these boys. Yeah. But we got to get this season going now. And this could be a good week for us. You know, we could be sitting here this time next week after the derby delighted. We could not easily, but you'd probably even, if we win today, fancy yours this time next week to have an extra 9 points, you know, because we've Newcastle and Everton. As good as Newcastle will be, you know, we're at home. We should be okay.
Our home record is exceptional, all right? I mean, results, you know, performances aside, that loss to United was the first loss in the league in the calendar year. You know, it was December last year was the last time we lost the game. And the fact that even at 2-1, I felt we can get, if we get one chance, it'll paper over a lot of cracks getting a point out of that because we should have been out of sight. United should have punished us. You know, that was a 4-0, a 4-1, a 5-1 loss in performance wise.
Yeah,
it was only 2-1.
Yeah.
And, you know, you wonder how, I mean, a lot of the problem caused by Darwin being suspended is not having that focal point and having that player to play off. Someone that allows you to be on the pitch, to push sides back, having runners that go in behind. It's a massive difference because you look at the pitch maps for Bobby in that game against United, and he was deeper than Milner for the entirety of the time on the pitch.
That's like a defensive midfielder,
that can't happen. You know, especially at home, especially today. He has to be up front and someone that we can use to play off and go from there. You know, it's back to basics. You know, run hard, run fast, tackle properly, press properly, win the ball high up, turn them over, get your set pieces right, get the deliveries better, attack the ball. You know, Virgil is a fucking colossus in the air. How we haven't scored a set piece goal so far this season is
it's not a good reading. And today, Firmino starts. He hasn't scored in the last 20 Premier League games, at Anfield, and he comes in today. Today's his 24th. So, look, we know Bobby. He's not cutthroat. His game isn't scoring goals. Obviously, that'll come along the way. Especially the Bobby a few years ago, he got 20 odd goals a season. We know it's about ball retention, his all round play. You know, getting Salah Diaz to goals and that. We know how hard he works in that. But you are right. He had been absolutely awful, and it was a 0 out of 10 rating I would have gave. You know, Borden says here, Borden, great. Thanks for tuning in, Borden. I hope the game isn't as boring as the title. How do you watch the game? I think Premier Sports are showing it today. Kick-off now will be shortly at 3 o'clock. So Premier Sports are showing it live, which is great.
If you're outside of the UK, it's live. If we're in Ireland, so we get to watch the game live at 3 p.m. We don't have the UK, the England blackout for 3 p.m. kickoffs.
Yeah,
if you're in the UK, I'm sure there are creative ways to.
There's loads of streams to watch it on. Yeah, even if you go on to Twitter, there'll be people with loads up. Yes, so Scott Parker's won before with Fulham, a 1-0 game. That was when we were going through a really bad run of form. I think it was February or March of 21. He's back with Bournemouth. Look, the massive favourites to get down, Kevin, rightly so. No chance of anything today other than a Liverpool win, is it? Even though we've only had 2 points out of 9 and we've been awful, surely Liverpool do the business today.
Well, they have to. I mean, the thing is, you can't win a league at the start in the first 4 games, but you can lose it.
Yeah,
you can be out. You can be out of the running of a title challenge in the first 6 weeks of any season, but you're not going to win it from there. We have to start. We have to start with 3 points. We have to get a win. Alan C. There's I'm disappointed Tsimikas isn't starting. I think there was an argument for him starting, but if we're honest about it, what's he done since he's come off the bench to show that he deserves a start? I think he's been absolutely atrocious in his appearances off the bench so far, and he's come off the bench pretty much every game. So when you come off the bench and you get your chance, you got to do something and take it. And to be fair, Robbo, for all of his ills, he's not at fault for the goals that we're conceding, and yet his delivery can be better, but his performances are better than Costas at the minute. But yeah, I get where you're coming from. I think the problem with Andy Robertson is he's played an awful lot of meaningful football over the summer with Scotland, and he hasn't had much of a break. He's had a long season last year, so I would have started him. I would have started Costas, but at the same time, it wouldn't be to do with anything that he's done on the pitch to justify a start. It would be more about protecting Robertson for Wednesday night.
Robbo was due a good performance. He has been awful, but they all have been awful, Kev. We've only said it there. The 2 lads that can have any pride coming out of the United game that showed some desire was Elliott and Carvalho. The rest weren't. And look, they would have known that. The lads would have regrouped on Tuesday after the game. They would have analysed it. They would have known as much as any of us without any analysis of where they went wrong, what they would have done. We're talking about elite professionals here. We're talking about lads. They've won everything.
Yeah,
everything there is to with Liverpool. So these lads would have known it. You know, they're not stupid in any way, shape or form. They would have known how to put it right, and all this week would have been prep for Bournemouth. Forget about what happened and let's move on, and let's kind of start the season now today, because we've 2 home games. We've across the road, then the derby next Saturday is the early kick-off. Let's start putting it right, and we're good enough to put it right, even without talk of midfielders or anything else. You have to get the basics right on the field first, defend as a team and attacking spirit. And you know, we need to go back to some of the basics. As we said, we've been lacking, and you pointed out some of them there. Tsimikas hasn't offered that, so it's been right through everybody, you know. But the lads, look, Klopp is the guy to say the father figure. He's the main man there. You're going to turn anything around. Solanke's missing today for Bournemouth. He's done well last season, hasn't he, for them? He might have been even top goal scorer for them last season. He was banging in goals. Think he's out injured, and then that captain Lloyd
Kelly, yeah.
Kelly is missing today, so it's Adam Smith captain experience as it can come at 2-1, I suppose.
Well, Dom Solanke scored 29 in the championship last year, and one in the cups. We were chatting to a Bournemouth fan from the AFCB podcast last night.
I seen that last night. Yeah, very good.
He was waxing lyrical about not just Dom Solanke and his output over the last 12 months. He's really grown into himself and knows what he is as a player now, Whereas the move to Liverpool just came too much. It was too much too soon for a young kid, and too much was expected of him. But Mark Travers has been very good for him as well in goal, and they're raving about him. And we're blessed with 3 really good goalkeepers in Ireland at the minute. Travers is one, Basunu for Southampton, and Queeve Kelleher.
Who's currently in.
So it's one of those that it's going to be a straight fight for me between Travers and Basunu as to who gets the Ireland shirt. And Bournemouth, the guy from Bournemouth last night, Sam, was absolutely delighted with him. So, you just hope that he doesn't turn into prime Lev Yashin today for his big Anfield moment. You know what I mean? So it's just going to be one of those. When you get your chance, take your chance. My biggest fear is if we get caught in a sucker punch and we go 1 down, and the mentality of going 1 down again is a real problem. We need to get out in front of the games and start a lot more positively. And this is a hangover from last year. And you know yourself, it's not by design. It's not for a want. It's just sides come into play Liverpool now. No, get at us for the first 10 minutes and see what happens. Just
they know as well that they know we're fragile at the moment, particularly with how we went. But as I said, the lads need to change that whole attitude, mentality, then come out and just treat this a new, fresh start, like the first game of the season, and come out with a block straight away and go at this. But also be patient, be professional, defend a lot better, be more compact, more composed, fight as a team for every ball and try and be on every first ball. Like, we were second to everything against United. And it was similar at times against Palace. And I go back to it again, I think Palace, we were very unlucky to concede the goal the way we did. They caught us cold. And then since then, we just ran out of confidence after everything was just very rushed and pushed. And there was a bit of huff and puff, but nothing clear cut. And, we just need to play our own game, do what we do best, but be patient. And I do honestly think we get the win today. And I think
there's goals to be had in that side. When you look at that Bournemouth 11, look, as much as we can worry about our performances of late, we've been really bad, and I mean really bad, for parts of games. But possession-wise and dominating the ball, we've been fairly okay. It's just that last final third, that final ball, that final pass. Get that right and we'll be fine. They're definitely there to be got at today. There's no excuses. There is no excuses.
If we were playing really well and losing, wouldn't it? It would be worse.
Oh, yeah.
We're getting what we deserve in some games. And during that night, the scoreline didn't reflect how the game went. Like, we were beaten 2-1. You think it's close and tight, especially last 10 minutes if you knocked it on. Like, my missus is watching the last 10 minutes with me. Not before that. So there you are, But
I wasn't able for that.
It should have been 5-6-1.
Yeah, I was doing a podcast show, post-match with I can't remember who I was doing it with last week. I think it might have been Chris, but I lost the plot. I completely lost the plot, and I don't lose the plot. I'm I try to be very level-headed and look for positives in performances as much as I can. Probably too much in some cases. Yeah. But that Manchester United performance from start to finish, from 1 to 90, it was absolute dog shit, and it can't happen again. It can't happen again. Yeah. I mean, they're the kind of performances that get managers sacked. I'm very confident today. I'm doing one. We're doing one after the game today with Chris. So fourth time lucky.
In good form today and wants to continue this laughing that he's doing. You'll all get him at 5 o'clock after the game is on. The LFC Daytrippers are doing a post-match reaction. Is a show of some sort. It's a So Daj, let walk alone. Cheers you too, Jordan. Thanks to everybody for throwing the comments. Obviously everybody that came in today. We are only keeping it short. Anything else to add, Kev? We went through the possibilities of a midfielder. We know that's more likely going to happen before the deadline on Thursday. We went through some of the Liverpool starting 11. Bournemouth. Anything else to add or to say before we wrap it up?
No, I just got to. John Henry doesn't cross the Atlantic for no good reason.
Good point.
I wouldn't be surprised if we're not just in the market for one. I got a feeling that we're going to do something in the rest of this window. So
I've always been confident that we would bring in a midfielder in this window, but when the last couple of weeks you hear Klopp coming out saying we don't need that and we won't sort of things. Didn't exactly say that, but was reference to that.
Yeah.
I thought maybe it won't happen then. There was a little bit of grain of doubt me that it mightn't happen. And the reason why I thought we're going to bring in a midfielder this summer is because, first of all, we have to. Secondly, because of the injury. And thirdly, because we've 3 players that are not going to be at the club next year. I don't think Milner gets another contract. Keita's one is up. Ox's is up. So are we going to really...
Bobby as well.
Yeah, Bobby. Are we going to leave 3 midfielders to be signed in one transfer window after a year of a World Cup and that? I don't think so, personally, because I think there's too much, particularly if you're looking at someone like Jude Bellingham, let's say, which we're heavily linked at bringing in next summer. So that's why I think we definitely 100%, I'm almost certain now that we will bring in a midfielder before the deadline. But will it be the first choice, second choice? I don't think it's going to be a panic or reactionary signing by any means, because we don't do it. It'll be interesting to see who we bring in. I agree with you, Kev. I think something about Núñez there, or Ruben
Neves.
Ruben Neves, I think could, because of the signing of Matheus Núñez from Sporting to Wolves, and now they're in for someone else. So I think that could be his Premier League experience. We've done good business with Wolves before. There's a lot of different reasons why I think. But I think he's only came to light in the last 24 hours that we've been linked from. So I think that possibly could happen.
Yeah, I think the one thing that as fans we got to be very wary of. Okay, we're not entitled to know everything. We don't have an entitlement to know the ins and outs of what the club's plans are. And the one thing you can nail on certainty is there's nothing coming out of the dressing room, for one, and there's nothing coming out of the management that they don't want leaked, that they don't want out there. So I think they want to go around their business quietly. They don't want to be doing what Manchester United have done with Anthony and putting all their eggs in one basket and getting absolutely fleeced on a player, because we are in a position where we do need signings, but we won't allow ourselves to be rinsed on anyone. And irrespective, he'll go with what he has over getting rinsed, because if you get rinsed once, you're opening the door down the line to get absolutely fleeced in every window and every deal going forward. You have to be willing to walk away on some of these players. And that's why I look at the De Jong stuff. And I think if Frankie De Jong wanted to move, I personally don't think he wants to leave Barcelona. But if he wanted to move, Chelsea were willing to pay up what he's owed at Barcelona and bring him in. Manchester United were willing to do the same, I've no doubt. And to be spending 90 million euro on Anthony, that's desperation. We won't allow ourselves to go down that road.
Half of what he's worth as well, by the way.
Yeah.
He's 45 million pound max player.
If you watch David Neres, I watched David Neres playing for Benfica, because he moved from Ajax to Ukraine to Benfica because he's had off the field troubles. Yeah. But he's banging goals left, right, and centre. He's a top quality player, and Benfica got him for a snip. I think 13 million. I think. Yeah. So it just goes to show there is value out there in the market, but they have to pass the dickhead test.
And that's what Liverpool are really good at, and that's why we're not. Yeah. And that's why United now are in the position that they're in, and United now, everything is kind of always left to last now, resorting to transfer market, because how long are they linked with Anthony? That the link with him since May, since Ten Hag was officially named. So, and the same way De Jong, they've been waiting 15 weeks or so to bring him in, and all eggs in one basket, and then they signed Casemiro, who's a completely different player, to De Jong, a very good sign as well, but we'll see. But how do you go from one type of player to another, though, that's completely different, is mad as well, though. But it is a bit panic for United. Okay, Kev, we'll wrap it up. Let's hope today we have more than a bite at the cherries and we take the whole lot and we can get a good convincing win, which is what we need. I think we do it today. I'm hoping the fist pumps that says I'm back today in Klopp at Anfield. I'm not going to get into score predictions, all this. I just think we'll win. It'd be great to keep a clean sheet. You're going for 4-0. Okay, yeah, could be. I think keep a clean sheet today as well.
That's actually more important than anything, especially going into Newcastle. The confidence that a clean sheet brings you. And to be fair, one thing that Klopp said in his press conference was about helping Alisson out. He can't do it all on his own.
Yeah, I seen it that day there in 2018-19 season when we got the 97 points and we pushed City all the way. It was the best title race in probably Premier League history back then, before last year's one. And we'd scored 19 goals after the first few games and hadn't conceded any. And the spine of the team was unbelievable. We'd had a few. The first year Alisson came in, Van Dijk was really settled in. So let's hope we can go back to some clean sheets. It's very important, especially against sides of tournaments.
I mean, the thing is, you got to look at it. The clean sheets is one thing, but what you get with the clean sheets, you go one up, sides are deflated. They just sink. They know they're not getting back into it. We need to get back to that. That's what we need to get back to.
We do, Kev. You're right. Everybody tune into the LFC Daytrippers. I think we'll go 5 p.m. straight after the game for instant match reaction. Kev will be on there giving his views and opinions on how the game went, and hopefully he will be smiling too. My money is on that he will be. Thanks for joining us today, Kev. I really appreciate it.
No problem at all, man.
Yeah, have a good one, brother. Take care. Thanks to everybody for subscribing and commenting, throwing the comments as well today. Big up to us all. Take care. Come on, the Reds.